Get in trouble for this one. I don't know why, but I am sure there's someone out there who is woke, who is going to come back after me and say, oh, who showed what? I'm going to save it for later in the show just to keep you sticking around. My name is Uncle Vigilante, and I unapologetically cover Epic Cash. It is Epic Cash Friday, our favorite days of the week. We are live. It is noon. And hey, how about smash that like button, comment in there, maybe even share this live stream in a chat. And what I want to do, because he only has a very short period of time, is I have a special guest, Michael Saylor, who has agreed to join me. And then after that, there is another woman who has some things to say and explain as well. So this is going to be about 8 minutes of just pure knowledge drop. And here we go. Let me make sure I have my share sound. And let me get over here to where? Hey, Michael, mic check, mic check, mic check. Are you there? Are you there? Yeah, he's there. All right. Okay, Michael, go ahead. What were we talking about before the show?
So at the end of the day, I think there'll be know your customer this, there'll be anti-money laundering that, there'll be some tax regulations, there'll be some back and forth over what you can do, there'll be concerns about privacy. That's why I look at Bitcoin and I think it's pretty clear. If the use case is store of value, well, like 7.8 billion people on Earth need a store of value, and probably the value of that is 100 to 300 trillion dollars, right? That's enough. That's good. If the use case is currency, replace the dollar and the euro, that seems like that's just intentionally inflammatory. We don't need to replace the euro and the dollar. The bankers are going to be upset about replacing the euro and the dollar. I don't think it's going to happen, and not in the next decade or 2 decades, so we don't need to get wrapped around the axle on that. And if the use case is medium of exchange and payment, like we don't really need to pay for a pizza with it. We don't need to pay for a Starbucks coffee with it. I mean, that's already solved by Alibaba and PayPal and Square and Apple Pay and Amazon and Google Pay, and it's, they can be regulated, and Visa and MasterCard. So you can leave Visa and MasterCard alone. You can leave the dollar and the euro alone. We can agree to pay taxes. We can, we can not thumb our nose at regulators.
All right, check this ending out. Shout out, Monkman. You rock. Okay, hey, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and I know you had to run. But Caitlin, can you hear me? I know that you are ready to talk about the question of fractional reserve Bitcoin. Are there really 21 million Bitcoin? So if you wouldn't mind, again, I'm just having these, gosh, where the heck are you? Where can I, oh, there it is. I'm just having these conversations. Nope, that's not it, is it? Stop share. All right, screen share. Boy, Uncle V is just really slaying it. There we go. All right, Caitlin, can you please educate us a little bit about the 21 million of Bitcoin?
A lot of people think that because the Bitcoin protocol precludes more than 21 million Bitcoins from being created. In fact, Jameson Lopp likes to point out it's not ever going to be exactly 21 million, right? It actually stops right below 21 million. So fair point. But anyway, there won't be more than 21 million. And yet, if you added up all of the Bitcoin IOUs in all the different intermediaries, it's far more than 21 million. One of the problems is no one knows because there's no reporting, there's no transparency, but I guarantee, because you actually see some of the intermediaries admit they rehypothecate. What does that mean? It means they're creating multiple claims to the same Bitcoin, multiple IOUs for the very same Bitcoin, right? So we don't know how many claims to Bitcoin in exchanges and custodians exist. And if we knew what the precise number was, then we would see, I guarantee, we would see that it's greater than the I think we're at 19.2 million now of Bitcoins mined. And so the actual, the real supply is far less than the IOU version, right? And that, so basically fractional reserving crept into Bitcoin through all these derivatives and lending platforms. Okay, so I think that's a given. I think most people wouldn't quibble with that. The question, though, is why does that necessarily mean the price of real on-chain, the 19.2 million Bitcoins, is somehow suppressed? How did it cut the top off? And the answer is there are people who don't understand the distinction between a Bitcoin IOU, which is everything you own at an intermediary, your exchange, your custodian, your derivatives platform. When you send them your Bitcoin, they give you an IOU back. It's not real Bitcoin. The only Bitcoin you own directly is the Bitcoin that you self-custody. And so what happens when those intermediaries satisfy real demand with supply that they created out of thin air? What's happening, if you think back to your supply demand curves in your economics class, anytime the supply curve gets pushed out to the right, what happens if you hold demand constant? The price drops. Just go do your little supply demand curves. You'll see the price drops when the supply curve goes out, pushes out to the side. For whatever reason, whether it's legit or not, you actually see the supply curve go out to the right, price drops. Okay, so what that means is people are having their pockets picked. They think that they're getting real on-chain Bitcoin. They're not. And your counterparties don't necessarily have one Bitcoin for every one Bitcoin IOU that they've offered you. And that's the piece that we don't know. And this bull market, so much leverage crept into that. We've already seen some failures. It's been in DeFi, but each of the prior bull cycles that turned to a bear cycle ended up revealing exchange insolvencies. And I'm pretty sure that there are exchange insolvencies that just haven't been revealed yet because of all this leverage. There is no lender of last resort. I consider that a feature, not a bug. But the only way you benefit from that lender of last resort is if you self-custody your Bitcoin. If you're holding it in an intermediary, then you've lent it to a leveraged intermediary that may or may not have it. We look at the collapse of Gox in, I think it was 2014, and yeah, it was early 2014, right? And then Quadriga was the collapse in this previous bull cycle, and now we're now getting into the bear cycle here. I think we're already there, and we're starting to see some balance sheet stress at some of the intermediaries. And I do predict that there will be an intermediary failure past this prologue. History does rhyme, and there's a reason why the intermediaries failed. They were running fractional, and it wasn't clear to the world that they were running fractional until they hit the wall. And then you realize just how fractional they were running. They were insolvent. And that happens in these bull to bear cycles. And, I wish it didn't, because unfortunately, we should have a lot more people hodling and self-custodying and learning that lesson. But I'm one of those who had to learn the lesson the hard way by losing Bitcoins in Mt. Gox. And boy, did I consider that cheap tuition. Because
all right, Max Freeman, welcome to the show. Would also like to welcome Enrique to the show. How are you? Both. Max, you recently interviewed, it hasn't been released yet, but Robert Breedlove on your DNA of Bitcoin podcast. And what we just learned from Caitlin at the end was that she had to go through some pain, some expensive tuition at Mt. Gox. But she learned from that, right? Not your keys, not your coins. I had the pleasure of being able to preview the interview that you did. Thank you for sending me a link with Breedlove. And what people will hear when it ultimately comes out is, his basically what I heard from him was the only use case for Bitcoin is to hodl. and not your keys, not your coins. And every time that you started talking about, yeah, but what about all of the intermediaries that people have to go through to acquire it, to whatever? His one answer back was, you know what? People are just going to have to learn through pain. So my question to you, Max, is all of these intermediaries, how many of them, because of fractional reserve, how many of them, and rehypothecation, how many of them do you think are danger of truly being insolvent?
95%.
So if that is the case, we can't shout loud enough from the rooftops to make sure that you self-custody your coins. If you would like to, even on Vite, right? That's it.
Absolutely.
Intermediary.
Absolutely. Not your keys, not your coins. You
That's
need
right.
to have the seed words to the actual blockchain that you want to own. If you have any disconnection from that, even if it's as trustworthy as can be, any form of bridging, wrapping, layer 2, DEX, whatever, it's really, really important. Shout out to Bad Wolf, who's doing great work at t.me/epicenter security. You don't want to learn through direct pain of your loss. You want to learn through others having experienced that pain and then telling you how not to touch the stove.
Well, I want to do one thing before I show you this thing. I just need to turn. Enrique, are you there, Enrique?
I'm here.
Can you reach out and just give me a pat on the back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a pat on the back because this weekend, as I promised, I downloaded this Epic Cash GUI Wallet 4.0 guide. Sky King, shout out to you for creating this and also giving me a little white gloves treatment over the weekend. But I was successful of getting my coins off of Vite, which are not they weren't my coins, right? Those are tokens, and I got them onto our native chain, the Epic Cash blockchain. And then because it actually, once I figured one little thing out that had to do with getting, what's the name of that token that we're supposed to get? I can go down here and find it.
ngrok.
Yeah, if you go to ngrok.com and you copy and you get your own free ngrok auto token, then when you plug that in as you're going through the startup, you never have to worry about when your GUI wallet is listening for incoming. You don't ever have to worry about that going through a timeout. So that's the only thing that I would say that we might be able to make more clear on that. But I did it. I got my coins off. I encourage all of you to get your coins off. And I want to let you know, it was so easy. I have a buddy of mine who called me while I was making breakfast, and I just had my earbuds in, and I wasn't even looking at a screen. But I, after doing it one time, walked him through it where, boom, easy peasy. So don't be afraid of it like I was afraid of it. Enrique, I think that you successfully got your coins into your own GUI wallet as well, correct?
Yeah. It was before beginning, I thought it was like a daunting task, but once I went through it, it became pretty easy. So it's a simple process.
It's a very simple process. So, and I tell you what, just the feeling of, I felt empowered afterwards. I'm like, it's like almost gives me goosebumps because this whole dang journey, the last 18 months of Epic Cash, I realized there was, you preach, not your keys, not your coins, but I realized my coin, my wealth is on Vite. It needs to be on our native blockchain. So that document was very, very important. Now, I will tell you, it is written in English. And shout out to the Epic Cash community. because it became self-evident. We talk about this a lot. You know, if you want mass adoption, ... you need the masses. So if we are going to try to evangelize, not your keys, not your coins, and get people to open up Pool Boy's GUI wallet, shout out Pool Boy, you're a rock star on this. I mean, just really, really, you're a volunteer like the rest of us. Nobody gets paid, but you have put your heart and soul and you've turned that into a beautiful, beautiful wallet. I love it. It's just like when I opened it up and it said, howdy, Uncle V. And I'm like, wow, those are my coins right there. It's so cool. But you know what we decided as a community? We decided that we needed this documented, translated to 58 languages. Now there's a cost associated with that. And so we could have gone out to the community and say, hey, we need to raise, let's just round it up, $6,000 worth of Epic, or let's just say 6,000 Epic, right? Well, instead of doing that and just kind of sitting back, you know, in Telegram, hoping somebody else will, you know, be a major contributor, so you don't have to necessarily. The community rallied, and I want to show you something. What we did was, first of all, Mother Trucker, you, and goodness, I'm having a mind for it. Sorry, you guys know I'm old, guys. Sometimes I forget things. Your partner in crime on that, who was helping you with the visual and everything. But basically, you came up with all 58 languages, and it was just basically showing the language and the flag. And then what we decided to do was divide that ask 6,000 by 58. Now I rounded up so it doesn't come out perfect, but it ended up for $93. We could do what? Let me show you. For $93, look at that. We could sponsor. So we had, let's see, where's Russia? On Russia. I sponsored Russia because my wife is Russian. And then the last one, I said, you need to keep that last one that was unclaimed for me because I want to root for the underdog. So I now need to figure out what is that?
It's an Indian language, Marathi.
Marathi. Okay, so look, there's about 170 homes in my community here. And since we've lived here 7 years ago, every new home that has been sold to an Indian family. So I feel like I'm in Little India. So I think that's I think that's perfect. I think these are my people. But and then there was one anonymous donor who I'm not certain who it is. I know it wasn't me. I know it wasn't you, Max. I know it wasn't you, Enrique. But thank you. You know who you are, and you funded about probably 25 of the 58 countries. So you rock.
Oh.
But it's so cool to see this. So now everybody has a why, right? Why Islo did you sponsor Japanese? I'm sure there's a why. If we had you on the show right now, I'm sure there's a why. Why, let's see, Captain Bai, did you sponsor Thai? I don't know, but I'm sure you have a why. Now, what I am going to ask, what I hope, Max, what I really, really hope is I hope these people who do the translations, I really sincerely hope they don't just say, oh, cool, 93, Epic. Let me convert those so that I can have some green cash or whatever their fiat is. And I hope they just hold on to those 93 Epic to the best they can. Anyway, I've been talking too much, Max. Tell us about the person who is coordinating the all of these translations and why their translations are better than just putting a document through Google Translate.
Yeah, so Google is great for like ordering, pasta at the restaurant and turning left and all kinds of common words. But when you get into like payment proof and how to describe UTXO and Node and stuff like that, it's not really good to do machine translation. So Vontefroos out in France, I
Okay.
believe he actually might be in Algeria now. But he's normally based in France. Montefroos runs one of the DAOs, the baby DAOs called Epiccentra. And so he's got about 150 native translators around the world. We started with these 58 to cover, I think we get, 90+% of the world's population.
Yeah, Donna just put in there that it's actually 62 languages.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And everybody should also know, in addition to translating the GUI document, they're also translating this document, which of course is so awesome because it is front and back. It talks about the macro of Epic Cash, financial freedom for the masses, and the positive key attributes. So imagine having these now in 62 languages. That's just freaking awesome. Max, you tell me how many other projects on this planet are translating all of their documents into all of the languages out there?
Seriously, yeah. So the biggest projects with the biggest like multi-$100 million budgets might do a handful of documents, say their original white paper or something, in like Chinese. In addition to English. If you're from Korea, you'll have Korean, English, maybe Japanese, Chinese, a little bit of Russian. But out of the 20,000 assets, I can think of, like less than a dozen, maybe a half dozen that even have a few.
That's amazing. Hold on.
Because it's really hard to execute. I mean, if you think about how much content we create, and all the iterations it goes through, and then coordinating all that. I mean, only very recently has it become technically possible, first with tools like Transifex and now Weblate, and our muscle memory of coordinating hundreds of collaborative document edits over the years now. We really have dozens of people helping out on this.
I'll tell you where other projects are looking on which ones to translate. I found this the other day. I thought it was quite good. This is by 2030, China's GDP is projected to surpass that of the US, but I'm sure that they basically take a look at this and you would mention China, right? Because fish where the fish are. I get it, Japan. But what we're talking about is hitting these guys over here.
No, nobody's going there.
Nobody else.
All to ourselves. And then if anybody wants to come later, they have to dislodge the incumbent. And that's much harder than being first. We don't have to be better than everyone else. We just have to be better than nothing.
Everybody, I just want you to really understand what we're talking about here. If you need worldwide mass adoption, right? You need to be able to communicate in their language, not just English. So this is a huge strategic initiative on our part. And Max, I'm really appreciative that you had the foresight to be able to put us in this position. Let me share something here just to give everybody a look at how are we doing this Friday. Year over year. It was interesting, Max. You and I were interviewed by a gentleman, John Lebon. That's John, LEBON.com, johnlebon.com. The first hour and a half of the interview is going to be made public, and I guarantee everybody who is remotely associated with Epic is going to want to just pop some popcorn. And it's really been the best interview. And really, it was just me kind of being the third wheel with John interviewing Max. But I learned so much. I always learn so much from you, Max, just sitting back, because sometimes you you say things a little differently to where the light bulb goes off. So I will let everyone know when that is made to the public. But then for those that want to get to the juicy parts of the interview, you can go to johnlabon.com, and for a very little bit of support, you can become a member there. And I really encourage you to do that, because he is he's the world's leading skeptic. That's what he self-classifies himself as. And those of us out here who are also ultra skeptical, I would back that up 100%, that he is the world's smartest leading skeptic. And he approached the interview, didn't he, Max, with a healthy bit of skepticism about cryptocurrency and Epic Cash, and he asked a lot of hard questions. And one of the things that he did when we were pulling this chart up, when he goes, yeah, I saw on your last Friday that you had this chart, and it really puts Epic Cash in a positive light. And I'm like, yeah, not so fast, not so fast. Let me go back and let me do it over 2 years. And he said, gentlemen, I have to tell you, I was skeptical, but you have way outperformed Bitcoin over the last 2 years as well. And he pulled that, didn't he, Max, from the time period to where we were like, we had a really good. So, I mean, it was really more like if he would have just jacked it back a couple more months, it would have been like a 40x. But
yeah. And just to put this in perspective, shout out to McMurphy for putting in an infographic together that shows the barrel of oil. Yeah. Okay. So
I'll do that next.
That one up. Okay. Yeah. So, but I just wanted to just explain the math. I mean, next time, note to self, we should do this visually rather than me explaining. But let's say somebody started August last year. You worked a summer job. You're a kid, and you have $1,000, and you go buy $1,000 in BTC. You would have $520. So your $1,000 grew to 520. Remember, we've always been at war with East Asia, and the chocolate ration has been increased to 20 grams from 30 grams. So your $1,000 grew to $520. And if you had put that $1,000 in Epic, you would have $2,570. So the relative outperformance of Epic versus BTC over the last 12 months is not triple, 157 divided by 48. We actually outperformed by 5 times. You would have $520 had you put the money in BTC. You'd have over $2,500 in Epic. You have 5 times more money.
We need some of our smart memers out there to come up with an infographic on that. That is, see.
And imagine R. You had R. You had $1,000. Now you have $100. You have 130 versus 2,500. You would have 20 times more money listening to us versus listening to Berwick and Co.
Right. That's excellent.
20 times more money.
Man.
That's 2,000%.
Epic Cash is such a shit coin. Oh yeah. All right. Thank you. Well, so we're doing pretty well. You mentioned L. McMurphy, and let me pull that up. All right, Enrique, take it over. What are we looking at here?
Sure. Well, what we're looking at there is a visual representation of how many barrels of oil you'd be able to purchase today, or at the moment of the tweet, which was a couple of days ago, had you used the same amount of coins that it would have taken you to buy 1 barrel of crude oil back in 2020, which Black Thursday, which was March 13, 2020. So in BTC, and the reason for this, Uncle and Max, as you know, is because to measure the real strength of your portfolio, you shouldn't measure it in a
dollars,
yearly arithmetic manner. It should be relative to the cost of oil, of energy, because crude oil is used to produce gasoline, jet fuel, plastics, all sorts of industrial chemicals, and so that is the true measure of your portfolio, how it performs compared to the price of energy. So here we have the following representation. it would have taken you 3,583 Epic to buy 1 barrel of crude oil on Black Thursday. And with that same amount of Epic today, you would be able to purchase 29.6 barrels of crude. So that means that you would be able to buy 28.6 more barrels, or 2,860% more oil. And if in BTC's case, you would only be able to buy half an extra barrel.
So let's say, another way to look at it is, let's say you were playing with, a $10,000 stack, something like that. In one case, and again, not looking in dollars, but let's say you wanted to end up with real estate, and you could buy, let's say, a $300,000 home with BTC, or a $10 million home with Epic. So yeah, the difference between like a high-end car, a new Bentley truck or a Lambo or something, or like the biggest mansion on the country club with a Bugatti in the garage. It's that dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know people that have done that. I mean, I know people that have turned tens of thousands into 8 figures plus, even 9 figures plus, by being on the right side of early stage coins.
But
So
why do people still not listen to us? I mean, I've been covering this for a year and a half.
yeah, well, welcome
Because
to my world.
Everything besides Bitcoin, everything besides Bitcoin is a shit coin. That's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, so it, black swan is one thing. You don't know that there's such a thing as a black swan until you experience one. So the framework of maximalism of, Bitcoin Core is always on top, always has been on top, always will be on top. It's always come back before. Just turn your brain off and hodl. Like if you go to Twitter right now, it's just like a support group for cancer survivors or battered wives. It'll be okay. Just keep buying the dip. Like when in doubt, zoom out. So you have like hundreds of thousands of people reinforcing one message, and then we're these crazy guys out in the corner talking to ourselves, going, "Hey, it might not be that way. Look at this." So people's minds are closed. Also, there's a huge amount of paid propaganda, news, press releases masquerading as news. Vested interests, getting people in so that exit liquidity. I mean, Michael Saylor is a relentless cheerleader to 2 million people who is misleading. I mean, lies by omission are still lies. And one by one, as I get, these guys on the DNA Bitcoin podcast, the truth will be laid bare. I mean, you can't ignore truth, and you can ignore reality as long as you want, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And so whether it was those maxis laughing at us because our market cap was only 5 million, look what happened since then.
3 million.
Yeah, well, we don't even hear from them anymore. It's like that Pomp meme where he sticks his fingers in his ears, and he's like, if I just don't acknowledge its existence, I don't have to acknowledge the fact that Lightning can't scale, doesn't work, and that the effective supply is greater than 21 million already.
Speaking of Lightning, I want to share this tweet. By the way, Epic Cash Official, you know who you are, who run that account. You're doing an awesome job. I really, 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 it's my go-to when I'm on Twitter. But we knew that Lightning Network does not solve the shortcomings of Bitcoin, not for security and definitely not for privacy. Here is more proof. And let me go to this article, if I could find my frickin', there we go, mouse. Researchers discover critical Bitcoin Lightning Network vulnerability. I know Gene couldn't be, Yoga couldn't be here for this, but Max, can you Have you studied this to be able to speak?
I haven't studied that, but there's about a dozen outstanding issues like this from as far back as 2019, at least, that have not yet been fixed. So they haven't fixed all the existing issues, and they keep discovering more. So the total amount of BTC and Lightning channels is, I think, like less than 0.5% or something. Like, for all the talk about lightning as the future, nobody uses it. Why? Because it's not safe software, and it can't work. There's only enough channel capacity for people to use it like a handful of times per year, because it can only store so much data. It can only open, I think, 485 hash time lock contracts, something like that. And above that, you get denial of service. So Lightning simply does not work. It will never be implemented on any kind of scale. And whenever I'm talking with people, I mean, I remember talking to Robert Breedlove 2 years ago. We were sitting in a Starbucks, and we were, kind of not arguing, but kind of debating, like, for like 2-3 hours. And we got to the point where he said, you know what, like, we have all the budget, all the smartest guys, the engineers will fix it in time. I'm not a tech guy. I don't need to care about that. So your solution has no value. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Wow.
And here we are 2 years later. And if you wanted to own more BTC, you would have 40 times more BTC. Like, had Robert just bought Epic and waited until today, he would have more BTC than he does. But because his mind is closed, and other people's like that, their mind is closed, it keeps coming back to everyone gets the price they deserve. So the bad news is that there's this like cognitive helmet, like a crust around people's minds that prevents those who have drank the Kool-Aid, or maybe taken the 666, brain chip already, that they're not going to be able to join us on this journey. But for every one of them, there's like 20 people that have never used crypto because it hasn't been ready for them yet. And I've been playing with our mobile app for weeks now. I'm actively talking with Diego about getting it through the app stores and the rollout plan and stuff like that. We're already starting. Oh yeah, we're already starting to improve it. Like, think about the new things we want and where we go from here. We rewrote a key piece of the stack so that you don't need ngrok anymore. It's called Epic Post, to not use WebSockets, so that it can handle like large amounts of traffic. So at the same time,
Max,
the GUI.
Let me raise my hand. This is one question I had with my GUI this weekend. I was thinking that with the GUI, and I was wrong, but I know this is going to be fixed with what did you call it? It's not Epic
Post. Epic Post
is right now, for me to receive Epic from anyone or from Vite or whatever, I need to be listening. My computer needs to be on. My wallet needs to be open. I need to have that ngrok auto token there. But I know, and I know you nerds that you have your special file transfer crap that 99.9999999% of the people will never use. So I don't care about that. But will there be a point in time to where I don't have to have my computer open to be able to receive some Epic from Enrique? Because I know Epic wants to start dollar cost averaging, sending Uncle V, 100 Epic every, and I'm grateful, but I don't want to have my computer open the whole time.
Yeah, let me explain how that's going to work. So with Epic Post, you get an address. It begins with ES. So it'll be, like on Ethereum, it's 0x, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
BTC is like 1, 2, and 3, depending on what type of address it is. I think Monero is 4, something like that. So ours begins with ES. It's about 30 characters, something like that, not too long. So it is basically an intermediate. That's why it's like a postal service. People can send the first half of the transaction to that address, and it basically waits there until you come online, receive it, sign it, and send it back.
It's not like the postal service. It's like a safety or it's like your post office box at.
Yeah.
at a post office.
Yeah, and then so that's coming. Pool Boy's on a much deserved vacation, so
Yep.
that'll probably be implemented when he comes back, unless Black Tiger or somebody wants to pick it up. So the ngrok token part is going away.
Okay.
That'll be a major next step, but there's also something really cool. Let me actually just screen share if I can for a
Sure.
second. Let me actually just pull up the directory.
By the way,
So-
Yoga, and this will be for later, but Yoga, he had some an opportunity to talk Epic Cash and educate a bunch of bikers on Bitcoin. That and he had some photographs for that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, show that one later. But so here's you know, the file method where you save it on your computer, sign it, send it back. That will be automated. Like imagine an email client that basically just, you know, processes the calendar attachment. Cool things like that become possible, but file storage and navigation on mobile is really suboptimal. The directory structure and the way different apps handle it, it's really convoluted. And so we've been working on something for a while called emoji transactions. So the way it's going to work, that top half, imagine getting that through Telegram, and then it absorbs it into the wallet and spits out another emoji stream back that you Telegram back to the other guy, and then that processes the transaction.
That just hurts my brain.
Yeah. So the information that the wallet needs to do the transaction, you know, with the kernel offset and blah blah blah, all that nerdy stuff, becomes encoded as emojis. And if you think about it, like to say, you know, purple eggplant and wheelchair takes a lot of text, but that's only 2 slots in ASCII, it's called. So there's 1,024 of them. We could do this with Sumerian cuneiform or literally any other alphabet, but we chose to do emojis first. So imagine you're in a repressive regime like China, Australia, Canada, someplace like that. And they're watching everything you say and do. Okay, well, I just sprayed a bunch of emojis onto this Twitter, you know, Sino Weibo or something. What are you going to do? Block streams of emojis?
Probably.
Right? Yeah, I know. But at that point, it's like, okay, this is absurd. So it's major for usability. It opens up all kinds of new use cases. It's unique. It's fun. So this is done. It will be like coming out into various, you know, apps in our ecosystem. Shout out to Black Tiger and Sky King for helping push the documentation forward. So this is this should get us some attention. I mean, who knows anymore? But it is newsworthy.
By the way, we all rallied with the these translations of these documents and everything. And Black Tiger, if you haven't been in Telegram and noticed the Epic tip bots, you haven't been paying attention. That was amazing work, and he's really put his heart and soul into that. And he led with his chin versus his handout on it. And I know personally, and I'm sorry, Black Tiger, if I'm sharing something that I shouldn't, but you know, he's at a point right now where he needs to make some decisions on whether he just focuses Epic and the next evolution of our tech, or goes out and gets that day job, and then works how he can, if he can, on Epic. And I know he's really going through a struggle internally, and I'm a big fan personally of day jobs. I think that if you can take any financial pressure off yourself, I think it would be hard in a community driven project to be able to just continually rely on the on the community for support. But I do know there are a few things that he's working on that can really just turbocharge the Epic tip bot. So I'm just telling you in advance that probably sometime in the near future, I'm going to personally dedicate a show to Black Tiger to try to, and Max, I would love to have you on and anyone else on to talk about what he has meant to our ecosystem, because would love to raise some support for him so that he can continue to be able to, finish what he started while he's looking for a job and such. But man, it just, this is what I don't know if people really appreciate. There are ankle biters out there that'll say, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? Or why doesn't this work? And those are the people that are just, they're I know we overuse the ore in the water, but it's just so good. But then you have someone like Black Tiger that never asks for anything, ever, ever, ever. So here's an idea. And I'll start, as soon as I get off, I'm going to go find in the Epic Cash community. I'm going to send 100 Epic to Black Tiger using his tip bot. Just came to me. Duh. So I guess that's my appeal right now. If you can send some Epic love his way, he's never going to ask for it. That's why I am, because he and I had an exchange this morning and he says, I just suck at that part, Uncle V. I just suck. And I don't know, you brought up his name, Max, and it just kind of triggered that stream of consciousness.
Yeah. Also, his efforts have directly contributed to a massive spike in our new wallets. Even though we're losing a lot of wallets on Veet because people are pulling their coins off and they disappear off the radar, but that's a good thing. I just updated the ellipsis, which I haven't done for a month. If anybody wants to help with that, DM me. We've got a format in place that it's pretty easy to update, and we can put it out on a weekly basis. The 1 month ago, we had 2,400 wallets. Today it's 2,800. So we had, what is that, like 15% growth in a month, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. So and the tip bot is a direct
well, and I don't know if like you shared with me, hey, why don't you hit the smart button, Uncle V, and you can do sub wallets invite, so you don't have to have all of them in one wallet. So I still have those wallets. So do those, if there are no coins in them, do those just
they don't show up?
Oh, they don't show up. Okay.
Yeah, that's wallets with a non-zero balance.
I got it. So note to self, go back and populate 10 Epic in each one of those.
Because then like garbage in, garbage out, you can't manage what you don't measure. We're just shooting ourselves in the foot with statistics. Like back when we first set up our Reddit, somebody thought it would be a great idea to fire 2,000 bots in there. But we only have like 12 people that use Reddit. And so it looks like we were trying to do the, Potemkin Village shitcoin thing, but it turns out you can't undo that. And so it looks weird. It would be great if we had been able to go, okay, we have 12 people in Reddit now. Can we get to 18? Yay, 50% growth.
Okay.
Anyway, just quick shout outs also, because I want to keep a hard stop here today. No particular order. Alan Trades, thank you. Johnny has been putting in amazing work on the bridge. Johnny Alpha Eyes Islo, thank you. We're really, really working hard on that to unlock E1. Black Tiger, of course. Ryan Comiskey has been really he is the wettest ore I've seen in a long time. He's been taking the lead on localization and is kind of modeling some things in Thailand after what Batuhan has done, and Batuhan is supporting him. So it's really, really heartwarming how many people are doing how many things. So as I always do, please DM me if you want to get more involved, and if you are helping, thank you. And as we look ahead to get the ECR token out and take care of the IOUs and stuff, there's the possibility of not starving anymore as those things become valuable. We have a process in place to identify who's done what and make sure that they get rewarded. So thank you for your help, everybody.
I want to show everyone, if you go to Twitter and you go to HEAVIDAO, I don't know how to say that, but I just came across this and I thought it was great. So I want to play this. It's just 1:37 seconds. All right. You know what? Let me stop share and go back and do this share sound. I think it'll probably be better if you can actually hear it. Just, that's just all of my seat hours, Max, with okay, let's go. Oh, maybe if why isn't it? So it's up and I'm hitting play and it's not playing. Why? Damn. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that and we're going to go to, sorry, everyone, just go to the at HEAVIDAO and watch this. It was really nicely done. It was very, very clever. I'm sorry I failed on this, but I do want to go to my next screen here, Max. And I know we have 9 minutes, but we've heard already that the U.S. Treasury sanctions notorious virtual currency mixer Tornado Cash, and then maximum chaos. Someone is sending TC Tornado Cashed ETH to big doxed wallets like Shaq, Beeple, Randy Zuckerberg, Ben Horowitz, Brian Armstrong. Turns out that having public addresses, Max, are kind of bad for privacy, right? How would posting a public Epic Cash address, how would that be any different? I mean, like if I published ultimately, my ES plus 30 characters for support, in a wallet, does that make me susceptible for somebody coming in and taking a Tornado Cash ETH dump in my wallet?
There's many differences. So first of all, Ethereum uses an account model rather than a UTXO model, which means that
stop. UTXO. I read that. Can you please help us understand what the heck that means?
So there's two types of blockchains, or two different ways that blockchains can store balances. Who has this many coins and who has this many coins? You can say, all right, my account is 0x12345, and in that account there are 10 units of the currency, Ether or Epic or whatever. Okay. The other way is to say unspent transaction outputs. So UTXO means unspent transaction outputs. The word Coinbase comes from a special type of transaction that every block, the new coins that are created through mining get created and issued to the miner of that block in a transaction known as a Coinbase reward. And so the way it works, let's say you got one of the very first mined blocks of BTC with 50 coins or Epic with 16 coins. When you want to send one to somebody as a tip for something, the way it works is you send 16 and then it makes change and says, okay, I'm going to make one new UTXO, an unspent transaction output, and send 15 back to you. So input and output sum up. There's no double spending. So the only way that coins get created is through the mining through Coinbase, and every individual transaction enforces that 0 + 1 must equals 1. And because it's an unbroken chain of digital signatures, you can build up the logic from there that the system is secure. Now with an account balance, the 0.1 ETH of the tainted Ether that was sent from Tornado Cash into those celebrities' wallets, it just updated the balance. So they had 1 ETH, now they have 1.1 ETH. You can't say that that this portion of that account came from here. There's a Russian saying a speck of tar ruins a barrel of honey.
So the entire amount in that address becomes tainted.
And all of the transactions into that address and out of that address.
Holy cow.
Yeah, everybody that's you have unprotected sex once and your future partners, get the clap too, and everybody you ever slept with gets the clap too.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, so it goes backwards too.
it goes backwards too. And then you get into, well, we can't shut down Brian Armstrong's account. He's Brian Armstrong. But you, Joe Bob in Akron, Ohio, we're going to just, discretion is the better part of valor. Let's be cautious. NatWest in the UK, if you go to withdraw cash, they ask you what it's for, and they reserve the right to not give it to you if they don't agree with your business purpose.
So really, about privacy, Max, you posted this in a shared chat that we had. Dutch police arrest alleged Tornado Cash dev. More arrests not ruled out. Financial crimes unit. I mean, we're talking about a developer developing software. What the? You know what I mean? It's like, what do you?
And where does it stop?
Yeah. So a suspended developer of Ethereum mixing service, Tornado Cash, has been arrested in the Netherlands, with more arrests not ruled out. And let's see here, GitHub accounts of people who contributed to Tornado Cash repos just got deleted. This was interesting. In addition to removing Tornado Cash repositories and the accounts of many project contributors, GitHub also removed multiple completely unrelated projects that happen to be owned by these people. Regardless of your opinion on Tornado Cash in particular and mixers in general, I think this is very troublesome for Monero. That caught my attention. It tells open source developers that simply contributing to privacy enhancing projects may jeopardize your GitHub account and every other GitHub project that you own. I am the maintainer of a few popular GitHub repositories, and knowing this, I would probably think twice before submitting a pull request for Monero on GitHub. If GitHub does not reverse this decision, I think Monero should really move out of the platform. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So I'd like to read a poem. First They Came by Pastor Niemöller.
Okay.
First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. This is where we are.
This is where we are. Well, how then is Epic, which we are not a privacy coin, we just happen to be a coin whose transactions happen to be private, but how does this, how do we stay above this fray? How do we not get a target on our back?
Yeah, so I mean, we don't like it's very predictable how this ultimately goes. Long term, people in power want to retain that power, and if a tool exists to oppress, it historically has been used, and we should expect that it will. So as I keep saying, you will own nothing and be happy is the promise. We are at the you will own nothing part. The IRS just hired 87,000 new agents who are required to carry firearms and be willing to use deadly force. Make of that what you will.
Wow. So, but what I'm wanting to get at here, I kind of want to end this show on a positive note, Max, is, I'm all in on Epic because I feel it's unstoppable. I feel that it's, that I like my privacy. I did it for all of the reasons that I've covered over 18 months. So give me a good bedtime story on this last couple minutes on why, we should look at stories like this and not go into, FUD zone. Max?
Sorry, I was on mute. The challenges that we face have. What?
Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, the challenges that we face have never been great, but our tools to meet them have also never been greater. So Epic is the sword, a USD is the shield. We are on the right track, and we will win. Ultimately, light prevails over darkness, and it'll get worse before it gets better, but it will get better. And this is just, what has to happen for this this transition to occur. So this is not the time for fear. This is the time for fearless optimism.
I like that. To me,
Yeah.
it's about the key positive attributes, and it's about financial freedom for the masses. Go ahead, Enrique.
Yeah. How many agents did you say? 87,000.
Yes.
87,000.
What's the population of the U.S. currently?
320 million.
300 million.
300.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, and I believe they were hired to target crypto. I think that's what I had heard somewhere. So,
well, they have a proven history of going after groups that are, seen as resistant to the political agenda. We want to end on a positive note, so we don't need to mention those specific examples. But yeah, I mean, you kind of need to decide. I think I wouldn't. Maybe we can explore this in a future show. But I think people need to evaluate in an environment where existing understandings are being reevaluated. What can you depend on? Like, where will we be in the singularity, summer of 2028? We know that as long as the Epic blockchain continues to produce blocks, that the supply will be 20.3 million, and that we can do transactions with it, and we know our purchasing power is going to be maintained and nobody can mess with it, and it can't blow up. But if you have your money in a stock, in a bank, in a bond, an insurance policy, a national currency, hell, even precious metals. Precious metals were made illegal for most of the 20th century in the United States. Executive Order 6102. What are you counting on to be the same as today in your go forward plan of how to, be able to keep a roof over your head? And so Epic, the immutability of Epic, I think makes it more trustworthy than other forms of wealth. And as people realize that, remember, there's only 5,760 coins a day to meet that demand, 2880 a day next summer, 1440 in 2025. So just one hedge fund, there's a fund of funds family called Everyone's Capital Partnership that's forming, that's going to be able to bring in $200 million in new investor money through a fund structure out of Wyoming. Think about that, 200 million. That would take our market cap up over 10 billion, probably.
Well, you know why that isn't concerning a lot of BT maxis is because Bitcoin is addressing their own shortcomings through layer 2 solutions, Max. Just thought I'd end on that note. Actually, no. I'd like to end on, what I have learned is that we can scale. Scalability is a thing with Epic Cash because we have a very light blockchain, and others, whether it's Monero that retain the transactions since the initial minting, and Bitcoin, they just get bigger and bigger. And I wanted to leave everyone on something that is going to probably, have people say, hey, you shouldn't be fat shaming, but this is a visual. And I can fat shame all I want because it's my show. And ever since I had my hernia, they've told me you can't do anything. So I've gained like 10 freaking pounds. So I'm fat shaming I feel like a Bitcoin blockchain today. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, Yoga was educating some biker friends of his. He was explaining crypto tech to his biker friends. So up here in the upper left, you have the blockchain size. And here with Monero, you have the blockchain size. And here with
little privacy.
And what? Oh, and
you
have
little privacy, the helmet.
Oh yeah, so you have the helmet. I didn't notice that. So
and the shades.
you have no privacy here. Good catch. But then we have total privacy with Epic Cash. and the blockchain size is a nice svelte size. And that's our text. So there you go, everyone. Don't say you never learned anything on the Uncle Vigilante show, because I know that some people are kinesthetic learners. They need to feel when they learn, and some are visual and some are auditory. So for those of you who are visual, I just helped you. You're welcome. Okay, Max, thank you. I know you had a hard stop, so appreciate you. El McMurphy, we will see you in Telegram and on Twitter. Thank you for your service on continuing to do your great analysis. I always look forward to those. And everyone in the chat, I haven't paid any attention to you, and I am very sorry. I haven't even had that window open. But thank you for being here every day. We have 17 watching and 19 likes, so that's better. And we'll see. I just need to share with everyone. So the next time that we're going to be on, of course, Tuesday nights, I do my thing with AB. That's kind of a mix of cryptocurrency. But Max, you're going to be on Tuesday, and we're going to talk about Lightning Network, and we're going to be talking about how because what's happening apparently is there are a lot of content producers out there that have gotten censored, and Bitcoin's solution to them all is the Lightning Network. And AB, who totally gets all of his donation from people who contribute, who just like his content. It's a value for value system that he has implemented. He tried implementing this Lightning support system, and he says it was an absolute nightmare. And so he'd like to talk about it. And I thought that might be a nice opportunity for us to brainstorm together, because you just experienced John Laban one-on-one. He is another content provider. We of course have SGT report, and let's talk about how Epic Cash, how we can help everybody out there with content, create those little QR codes that, I should have one, right? I should, in the lower left or lower right, I should figure out how to always be able to have that QR code. And if you like what you see and you want to send a little love, then boom, you just do it. But that's going to be Tuesday. I think it'll be a really good show. And then we're going to have Wednesday, Todd Lewis. He had some hurricane issues. So he got a, get out of live stream card last Wednesday, but we'll be doing that. And then I have to share with everyone on Thursday and Friday, I have to go back home, and I'm going to miss next week's Epic Cash Live on Friday. So we won't have that one on my channel anyway. If somebody wants to create something on a different channel, that's fine, but I won't be able there. Got to go take care of Pops, everyone. So, all right. Hey, thank you. Hope everyone has a great weekend. As always,